Greg Tepper, Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com here at the THSCA Coaching School and Convention in San Antonio. You know they're important when they're wearing the black THSCA polo. Like, only the important guys are walking around in those. And one of those guys, head coach of the Fort Bend Marshall Buffaloes, Coach James Williams, joins us. Coach, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. I'm so good to be on here. Thank you for having me, and always honored to be with you guys.
Well, let's talk first and foremost about the black polo. You're heavily involved with the THSCA.
Yes.
And involved. And so I imagine that an event like this and coming here, we just get to come here and have fun, but I know for you guys, there's a lot of work that goes into something like this.
It's actually very humbling. First of all, just to be a director for our region, Region 5. I'm a freshman director this year, and it's just an honor to represent our region. And like last night, we had the Hall of Honor banquet, and wow, just the names and the guys on there, it's just a humbling experience and goals. It sets goals. Hey, one day I want to be up there. One day I would love to be recognized as a Hall of Honor member. But again, being a part of this association is amazing. It's the best in the world, the best in the country. And like today, 15,000 coaches are going to be through here this weekend. It's awesome. And
you're well on your way to the Hall of Honor based on what you've been able to do there at Fort Bend Marshall. I spoke with you, actually, the last time I saw you was at State 7-on-7, and I'll just bring this to air, but I told you the one thing I really admire about your program is every time I watch your team is so crisp and so like disciplined, and it always feels like the little things are what really set Fort Bend Marshall apart, and I always admire that whenever I watch your squad play.
Well, thank you. I mean, that's the focus of ours. I don't want to be known as a school with just great athletes or just kids who are fast. We've been fortunate. We have some athletes there. We've had some speed and a great coaching staff to develop all of it. But, the champions and the great teams and the great programs, they do care about the discipline, the small things. The model of our program, the foundation is always on character, it's discipline, it's hard work. And that's something that we focus on all the time. And, if we can take those pretty good athletes and those fast athletes and have them play with character, with discipline, and work hard, then I really believe good things will happen. And, again, that's something that we focus on constantly, and it's shown to be evident, and hopefully we can get back to doing that this year.
Okay, so let's go back to 2021 if you want.
Yeah.
Great news, 10-0.
Yeah.
Bad news, the dreaded 10-1. Is that something you talk about, or do you turn the page and move forward like the way last season ended? I know is not up to your standards.
Right.
Is that something that you guys talk about in the program?
Absolutely. I mean, you can't forget about that. It happened for a reason, and we have to do our best to make sure it doesn't happen again. That the fact of the matter is it's unacceptable. We've lifted our standards to a certain point where we expect to be playing in December. We expect to make those runs, and it was definitely disappointing into the season, much sooner than we wanted to happen. But there's a lot you can learn from that situation, a lot we can use to help us this season, help us in the off season. And so this senior class right here knows that we're not going to let that happen 2 years in a row, and we're going to get it done.
Okay, so then let's take a look, though, at one of the things that I think is really interesting is realignment.
Yes.
You guys were taken out of a district that, in my opinion, I'll speak for myself here, I thought you guys were the best team in that district by a pretty considerable margin, in my opinion.
Yes, sir.
You're now moving into what I perceive to be a much more challenging district. Is there an advantage for you guys moving into a district that may be able to push you guys a little bit more?
Well, at the end of the day, it's nice to be undefeated. It's nice to be 10-0 going into the playoffs. But the most important thing is you want to be prepared for the playoffs. You want to be ready, battle-tested, and ready to make that run. And in the last couple of years, and we've had to fight. This past year, we didn't make it out of the first round, but the year before, versus a good P&G team, we barely made it out of the first round again, winning the game 21-14. And then we got better as the rounds went on, and we made a run through December. But at the end of the day, that first round of the playoffs, you want to be ready. You want to be physically, mentally prepared to play that game, and you want to be battle-tested. You don't want to breeze through the regular season. You got to have those challenges. You got to have those fights. You got to have those ones where you face adversity, and you got to pull out in the fourth quarter to prepare your team and harden your team for the playoffs. So we're definitely in a tough district. In my opinion, if not the toughest, but one of the top toughest districts in our region. And, again, we're excited for it. There are no easy games. There's going to be week in and week out competition. Our non-district schedule, we start off with Klein and Crosby and then A-Leaf Taylor. So, we're going to come in and week out and make sure this year we're going to be ready for those playoffs.
Well, and I go back to whenever you were making those back-to-back runs to state championship games. And what strikes me about those teams is they seem to get better each week.
Absolutely.
They were a team that you were good in week 10. You were better in week 14. You were as you went on. And so is it fair to say that that's what you're hoping will come in 2022, is that you guys are continuing to get better, and so then by the time hopefully you get to AT&T Stadium, then you're playing your best ball?
Absolutely. You definitely don't want to be satisfied in the regular season or peak in the regular season. You want to continue to get better. You want to have a program and pretty much a schedule and a plan to get better throughout the playoffs and get better week in and week out. You're going to face tougher teams as you go through the playoffs as well. And so, again, you want to keep learning about your team, keep making adjustments, keep getting the best out of your kids without burning them out, without peaking too soon, so you said they can continue to get better in November and December. You're ready to rock and roll. Okay.
And finally, Fort Bend Marshall, you guys have always had a history of putting out fantastic athletes. We know about guys like Jacoby Banks, your quarterback, who feels like he looks – I saw him at 7-on-7. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
You got a guy
Yes,
for
sir.
sure.
Yes,
you guys
sir.
look good on the hoof. I'll ask you, who's the guy that we're not thinking about right now that you think could be that breakout star that we could be talking about in a state semifinal, in a state championship game type situation?
Well, to answer your question, hopefully there could be several.
Yeah.
Hopefully there could be, we do have Jacoby Banks coming back, and he's the alpha dog. He's our leader. He makes it go, and not just on game day. It's like that in practice. It's like that in the weight room, in the off season, over the summer. There's an expectation every day of how to work, and it's not okay to be average. In our locker room, and he's one of those guys that's going to hold his teammates accountable. But I think we have several. We have another a running back coming back, Adrian Wortham, who was there last year. He's a starter this year. He's been on varsity since a freshman, so he's ready to really blow it open, and hopefully he does a good job. And I always talk about stars up front. With our offensive line, we have 2 starters coming back from last year, and Anthony Chapman and just slipped my mind my second guy, Jerron Wallace. Mm-hmm. And what I'm excited about is we have a couple young sophomore receivers who I really believe, and actually they both already had Division I offers, and so I'm expecting some really good things out of those guys and watching them develop. If this is just their sophomore year, but watching them develop all the way up, we're excited. And defensively, I'm ecstatic. I'm ecstatic about the guy that the game is won on offensive line, the defensive line, the line of scrimmage, and defensively we have some guys on the defensive line that I expect big things from. And so as long as those guys produce, you'll be hearing about Zach Chapman, you'll be hearing about Trent Thomas, you'll be hearing about Logan Granville, and at linebacker Jordan Sample. I'm excited. Lots to be excited about.
We're excited for the Fort Bend Marshall Buffaloes, their coach James Williams. Coach, really appreciate your time, my friend.
Awesome. Always honored to be on here.